In today's news, the Director of Public Prosecutions receives over 60 matters from COI unit. DPP office oversubscribed and understaffed, hampering work. BVI fire and rescue plagued by resource shortage. And governor will not be held accountable with the new powers, claims opposition leader Honorable Ronnie Skelton. Viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at 284 Media, we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. 284 Media proudly presents The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman with yours truly, Ron Grant, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Don't worry, it's not all about suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 5, a 284 Media production.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Why? This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you,
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What's your name is?
Shit, I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into you know I hustle. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hooked, I tell you.
Welcome viewers to the Friday, January 12th, 2024 edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. Leading today's news, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is facing a mounting workload, including a significant influx of cases from the Commission of Inquiry Unit. As of November 2023, the DPP reported receiving approximately 68 major matters from the COI unit for review and potential prosecution, with 6 more coming from other agencies like Customs, Immigration, and the Financial Investigations Agency. But this adds to an already overwhelmed judicial system across both the magistrates and high courts. The DPP noted 180 matters awaiting hearing and 519 active cases in magistrates' court currently. The High Court has 45 live indictable cases. Alongside the COI referrals, over 425 complaints were filed in Magistrates Court by November 22, 2023. The DPP's office reported that it had disposed of 665 Magistrates Court matters involving charges from 2019 to 2023, of which 278 matters were dismissed because summons were not served on defendants. DPP requested increased staff and funding, including for 2 summer interns to gain experience. Further training and professional memberships have also been sought to build capacity. While the COI influx compounds an already strained system, prosecutors continue facilitating witnesses and pursuing justice. But without more resources, delays may worsen as urgent cases stack up. In related news, in recent testimony to the Standing Finance Committee, the Director of Public Prosecutions characterized her office as, and I quote, one of the most misunderstood, undervalued, underappreciated, and oversubscribed government departments, end quote. She stated that this is reflected in the continued fight for adequate funding and human resources. Despite shortcomings, the DPP said her office worked tirelessly to fulfill the constitutional duties. But vacant posts and denied requests constrain capacity. Currently, the DPP's office has multiple unfilled positions, including legal counsels, executives, a paralegal, and clerks. Additionally, roles have been requested but not approved. Only one principal counsel, one counsel, and one senior executive were granted after repeated appeals for more staff. The DPP recognizes that not all acts can be met, but resources fall short of needs. The concluded salary review and pay boost were welcomed by the DPP. More competitive compensation may aid recruiting after long struggles attracting qualified candidates. While appreciating government commitment, the DPP contends staffing and resource limitations continue hampering efficacy. Viewers, during the recent Standing Finance Committee deliberations, BVI Fire Services Chief Fire Officer Zabulon McLean outlined major challenges facing the department, including a lack of personnel, equipment, and support. Ojako Wedding has this report.
Quoting the SFC report, McLean shared that, quote, one of the issues they faced with filling vacancies was that with reduced budgets, they were unable to get the requisite equipment, clothing, and certain items for firefighters. He noted a full firefighter kit cost between $3,000 and $5,000. He said if you brought a person to train, these are things that were needed to have in place to outfit them before they can even train, much less respond. McLean reported that they currently have 38 staff but require 64, including administrative roles. Statistics shared with the SFC revealed approximately 742 calls were received in 2022. McLean stated these included fires, accidents, medical calls, and rescues, with medical being the highest number annually. The picture painted is of an understaffed, underfunded fire service, lacking key equipment, but called upon for expansive emergency response duties, including frontline medical care. Significant resources and support are urgently required per McLean's SFC testimony. Alongside understaffing, McLean highlighted outdated equipment as another pressing concern, especially regarding fire trucks. The SFC heard that 5 mini pumpers acquired in 2019 were supposed to be a stopgap, but no new larger fire trucks have been purchased since then. The document said that their desire would have been to start receiving some new equipment, trucks specifically. With only 2 functional larger trucks still in operation beyond the mini pumpers, acquiring modern vehicles is an urgent need. According to McLean, the fire services role has grown to include robust public education, medical response, and rescue. This has increased demands on limited staff and equipment. McLean told the SFC that firefighters frequently arrive before ambulances to emergency medical calls, having to provide life-saving care until paramedics arrive. To supplement ambulance services, the goal is to have an ambulance stationed at each fire station. But without increased resources, this expanded medical function further strains the constrained fire service. McLean described a lack of support for the EMT initiative so far. Jacko Whitting, to It for News.
And moving on, Opposition Leader Honorable Ronnie Skelton firmly believes that the House of Assembly members will not have the capacity to hold the governor to account for his actions if he is granted his requested additional powers. Well, Skelton, at the time of the comments, was responding to a question by local media at an opposition press conference on Tuesday.
Answer your last question first, yes. Yes.
You're unable to keep him accountable?
Unable to make him accountable.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
He has the power to allow or disallow legislation. I can't hold him accountable.
So what I meant is, if he says that he is pushing what's under the COI recommendations and he steps out of that, are you not capable of holding him accountable and bringing that to the people?
Yes, I can talk about it. I can't hold him accountable.
No.
Also adding a response to the question was the 6th District Representative Honorable Myron Walwin. He said the real issue is the interference with the BVI's constitutional rights that will be affected if the governor is granted additional powers.
I think what is important is not necessarily to look at what he does if those powers are granted. I think the interference with our constitutional rights is in fact the issue. And particularly in the 21st century, and I recall saying this even before I was elected, for the commissioner to even suggest the suspension of our Constitution, to me, was an assault on our human dignity. A lot has gone into getting to where we are. As I mentioned in the preamble of the Constitution, speaks about a modern partnership. And within a modern partnership, you don't take these types of draconian measures.
Wallman also questioned the governor's call for more powers, stating that he believes that action does not meet the threshold to warrant such a request.
Regardless of the reasoning or what the intention is, you are to move very slowly to interfere with the constitutional rights of a people. It's only done in the cases of a national emergency or some sort of major crisis, none of which exist at this time. And I've also said, and other members have said, the reasoning or the rationale given by the governor for asking for those additional powers, to me, does not meet the threshold, because he has either through the Constitution or through the normal functioning of government, he already has the authority to do certain things that he wants to do. Even in the calling of the COI and all these audit reports, the governor has that authority in the Audit Act to do those things, so you didn't even need a COI.
Well, up next, more local news after a word from our sponsors.
At Higher BVI, we're not just about business. We're about empowering lives, and that is because we aspire to inspire. By choosing us, you're supporting a company that believes in equal opportunities, diversity, and community growth. Our mission goes beyond profit. It's about providing HR solutions, fostering talent, and leaving a positive impact. Join us in building a better future, a better BVI. Choose Higher BVI, where your support isn't just a transaction, it's a transformation. Together, we're changing lives in these beautiful Virgin Islands.
One Stop Auto, located in the R&R Malone Complex, Parkwood Pond, is having a huge liquidation sale on all inventory, excluding vehicles and genuine Toyota and Lexus parts. Get no less than 50% off all items on shelves and inventory room. Items such as car covers, steering wheel covers, wipers, sealants, chemicals, emergency cones, adhesives, license plates frames, air filters, oil filters, front brakes, rear brakes, front rotors, rear rotors, radiators, shocks, and much more. A specific listing of all makes and models for which parts are available at liquidation prices will be posted on our Facebook page.
Welcome back, viewers. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has refuted the claims made by the governor during his most recent press conference that the unity government was mainly responsible for the initial deadlines granted for the implementation of the Commission of Inquiry recommendations.
Initial deadlines were set out in the framework agreement for implementation of the COI recommendations between the government of the BVI and the UK government, and they were actually proposed by the government of the Virgin Islands. But that was after discussions between officials in the government and officials in the governor's office to work out what deadlines would be achievable. I've recognised many times that the deadlines were demanding, and in some instances were overly demanding, and so when the first extension was required, I recognised that need. But we've now had not just a first set of extensions, but a second set of extensions which were proposed in September, with a lot of deadlines for the end of this year, and they still haven't been achieved.
While His Excellency Governor John Rankin did state that the decision included talks with his office, Premier Wheatley said, on the contrary, the agreed timelines followed extensive discussions between the United Kingdom government and the government of the Virgin Islands.
It was put forward that these are timelines that the unity government proposed. Those are half-truths. Those are not, completely true. Those are timelines agreed between UK officials and BVI officials. They were back and forth. There was rejection of timelines. There was timelines saying that these timelines are not ambitious enough. These will not be able to persuade the minister that we're serious about reform. That's the type of exchange that took place. And the UK took a coercive approach. And now it's being presented as though these timelines were agreed in a vacuum, that the elected government just came up with these timelines. But obviously we put forward the timelines, and despite how tight they were, we tried our best.
Despite the tight timelines, Premier Wheatley said the government and members of the public service have been working tirelessly to get the COI recommendations completed.
We tried our best to meet them. We've worked hard. In fact, sometimes I feel badly for the public officers who have the weight of all of this on them. They're working all hours of the day and night. They're not able to see their children at home. Some of them, if they don't take a vacation, they may end up in the hospital. This is the type of pressure we've been under. And not just that, we have to keep tourism going. We have to keep financial services going. We still had to recover from hurricanes. We had the effects of the pandemic. And instead of being understanding and collaborative, it's just another battle that the people of the Virgin Islands have to fight. And we're asking for the governor, we're asking for the United Kingdom to be more sympathetic, more supportive of the people of the Virgin Islands.
The Premier renewed his plea to the United Kingdom government to deliver on their agreement to maintain a true modern partnership with the BVI.
Even as it stands right now, we are seeking to protect our financial services industry against persons in the Parliament in the United Kingdom who do not understand what we do and who don't want to understand. We are asking for true modern partnership. That's what we signed up to.
Well, in a recently held press conference, Leader of Government Business, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, responded to those who called for him to step down as the Premier of the Virgin Islands.
The BVI, my grandfather, I was amazed at this. He used to walk, he was a headmaster in West End, and he used to walk from East End to West End to teach if there wasn't a horse to carry him. You know, when I think of where this BVI came from, and the only time when we started to see real progress in the BVI is when our own legislators were elected, and Faulkner, Fonseca, and De Castro and 1,500 persons marched for that right. So yes, I get passionate. It offends me when persons can just arbitrarily and casually say, just give it all away after my ancestors worked hard to get us here. It's deeply offensive to me.
Honorable Julian Fraser, member for the 3rd District, also joined in on the subject matter.
Fellow Virgin Islanders, stop laughing because this joke is on you. I want to preface my statement by saying something I've said on more than one occasion, and I'll say it here. And that is, I commend this governor for his humanity in not exercising the option to dehumanize us as a people, when in May of 2022 he decided not to execute what remains an inhumane and anachronistic order in council. That said, however, basically, I am tired and amazed at the insensitivity of the British. For even despite the current revolt by black people, specifically in the Sahel region of Africa, namely Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, against neocolonialism, this governor is doubling down on the colonization of the Virgin Islands. Fellow Virgin Islanders, this is existential. An act designated to discredit the government of the people of the Virgin Islands, the impact of which such an action, if successful, will result in irreparable damage to our reputation and set our territory back decades in terms of our constitutional advancement. This is not a two-step dance. Therefore, moving forward, I am proposing to both the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition to immediately convene an extraordinary sitting of the House of Assembly and introduce a resolution for debate, denouncing the Governor's announced proposal to seek additional powers, which will undoubtedly require the suspension of certain sections of our Constitution or parts thereof, and undermine our sitting government.
Well, up next, BOYNES Taekwondo Academy to host POOMSAE competition, and former PAHO director Dr. Etienne laid to rest. With these stories when 284 News return.
Today, I am doing choral treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today, we are doing shark research. So today, we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Why? This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you,
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What's your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hooked, I tell you.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctbvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Welcome back, viewers. BOYNES Taekwondo Academy is gearing up to host the territory's first POOMSAE competition, which will be held at their Kingston Tortola Dojang on January 20th, 2024. The POOMSAE is a high-performance competition with defined patterns of defense and attack practice to refine Taekwondo techniques for color belts yellow through red. But there will be 3 stages of competition ranging from beginners, intermediate, and advanced. What the Academy said, and I quote, each participant is required to perform 2 POOMSAEs. The first is based on the contestant's current belt, and then the other will be selected based on their level of knowledge. Each entrant will have the opportunity to restart 1 time only on their selected POOMSAE. The Academy also said that medals will be distributed based on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. Judging will be based on their KiwiCon guidelines for performing their POOMSAEs. The owner of the BOYNES Taekwondo Academy, Master Alonzo Boynes, said the Academy is proud to have developed the art of Taekwondo over the years in the territory to host the first POOMSAE of the BVI. He spoke about the significance of having the competition hosted in the territory for the first time.
The fact that we in the BVI now have the amount of students that we have that we can now host a tournament, although it's local, we have enough students that we can actually have brackets and charting and different levels, meaning beginning, intermediate, and advanced students. Now it shows that Taekwondo in the BVI has definitely started to take the next step towards being able to then have representatives to demonstrate what we learn and teach here in the BVI to a national level as far as competition. The second aspect of this, I would say, would then rely around the students and locals understanding that this is a competitive sport. This is only one aspect of the competitive features of Taekwondo, being the POOMSAEs.
Boynes said the trajectory of the sport in the BVI is promising, as there are plans to further develop the other aspects of Taekwondo in the BVI.
The sparring or karaoke is another component of the sport, which we are gradually introducing into the community, into the BVI, as well as our neighboring islands. We are part of a Caribbean Taekwondo Association, and we are trying to show them that we have the capacity, although we are smaller, we have the capacity to be able to compete with the larger levels. We've done it online, virtually, where we placed high in comparison to the amount of students. Now we're wanting to be able to travel and in future invite to tournaments. But the first thing we have to do is be able to say we can host it, we have the capacity to host it, and then we have the students and the practitioners of Taekwondo in order to do that.
Boynes welcomed persons who are actively practicing Taekwondo outside his dojo to contact him at 542-2334 or via email at boynestkdacademy@msn.com if they are interested. Well, moving on to our final story, viewers, where this week on January 10th, Dominicans and the wider Caribbean paid tribute to Dr. Carissa Etienne, the former director of the leading health organization in the Americas, at her official funeral. Etienne is said to have fulfilled the role of director for the Pan American Health Organization and served as the regional director for the Americas at the World Health Organization from February 2013 until January 2023.
In the image and likeness of God, infused with the breath of life and the Spirit of God. A person given a span of years on this earth, yet a woman destined for heavenly glory. Carissa, C-A-R-I-S-S-A, caring, comforting, courageous, concerned, committed, charming, delightfully pleasant and attractive, articulate, adorable, inspiring great affection and admiration, religious, radiant, religious, emitting a warm light, shining with joy, intelligent, displaying high mental capacity and quick understanding, serious, sincere, genuine, honest, and truthful in character, spirit-filled, stylish, spirit-filled.
Her daughter took time to reflect, giving encouraging words to all.
As an ending, rather think of it as new life beginning. We think of it as losing, rather let us think of it as winning, as final victory. We think of it as parting, rather think of it as a meeting of loved ones. We think of it as going away, rather let us think of it as arriving home at last. So Lord, help us to see death for what it really is. The end of frustration and the beginning of fulfillment. The end of fears and the beginning of peace. The end of pains and hurts. The beginning of joy and love. Help us to see what we love becomes a part of us.
PAHO wrote, and I quote, "Under her leadership, the Americas eliminated the endemic transmission of measles, rubella, and congenital rubella syndrome and made considerable strides in the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases. Legislative and regulatory mechanisms gained traction as countries enacted legislation on the labeling of food products and introduced taxes on sugar-sweetened beverages." But the organization added that Dr. Etienne led Dominica to a place of distinction in the provision of primary health care to our citizens. But Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett stated in a previous press conference, and I quote, she was very much involved in a primary health care program, end quote. Viewers, that's all we have for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.